But so Nick, you found. Oh, we talked about Godtube last week.
Yeah,
and
we did.
What did you find on Godtube?
I found a website that mostly just links YouTube videos. It was a lot of just. One of them was this. The first video that was on there was this woman giving a speech about the bikini, and being the deviant that I am, I said, "Hey, she's cute. Let's see what she has to say." And it was this just her talking about how the bikini is. She used the song "Itsy Bitsy Teeny Weeny."
I was just thinking about that song.
She used that song, and she used it as a like a launch pad for, I guess, I don't know why bikinis are immoral or whatever, and how she's immoral, and how she basically started her own clothing line, which to me just means she was shilling for it the whole time anyway, of like modest swimwear. Which
I've heard of this lady, if it's the same one.
The modest
like
mom bikini.
Is she in Arizona? Or?
I don't know. She's kind of like I think she was like an Asian lady that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
This one was actually German, so
okay.
they're both women of international origins.
But
must be a connection between that and bikini hatred.
Yes. Well, it was a lot of that and just music. The comedy wasn't like the comedy section wasn't funny. It linked to a woman named Jeannie. Let me see. Her name's like Jeannie something. She's this Jeannie or Jeannie Robertson or something. She's a comedian, Christian comedian. And I didn't think she was funny at all. I mean,
is it because she's a woman, Nick?
I'm not going to admit that. Look, I will admit this, okay? I have been on a mission to find really funny female comedians that I like, because...
And they're out there.
There is that stereotype of, like, women comedian are not funny. And I'll admit I kind of fall into that camp a little bit, because for the majority of them, I haven't found them to be funny, but I also haven't found a lot of men funny. So There's that give and take. But I've been putting into my own Google Doc a list of these people, what I liked about them, and that kind of thing, to sort of. And I haven't really found. I have like five people on the list, and 2 of them were funny. So
I think the holy grail quest would be to find a funny Christian female comedian.
Yeah.
Yeah. I forgot her name, but there's one out there. If you've lived your life in church and you get all the jokes, then it's hilarious. But I forgot her name. See, she's not that memorable.
But Nick's right. I mean, I don't like as many male comedians as I do female comedians. It's so hard to find funny people these days.
Yeah.
We had to settle with us for the show.
Right. Yeah. So on Godtube, is there still a bunch of preachers on it that are just uploading themselves?
Yeah, that's there. I didn't dive too deep into it because site layout was my biggest problem with it, because it was you'd go to a section like, say, comedy or music or something, and then it was just this big list of artists that were incredibly popular, and then the list of the actual videos in the genre. So you had to like sift through all this, and it was the same list no matter where you went. It was just sort of like a header on a page, basically. You had to sift all the way through it to find the videos, and none of them really seemed that interesting to me. One of a kid the funniest video I saw was a kid who fell in a baptismal or something, and I mean,
So on a scale of 1 to 10, should we put CVC on Godtube?
Sure. It would. I think the quality would be a step up.
All right. We've got a new place to host the podcast. Okay. Well, you mentioned Pureflix last week, and so I went and looked at it, and I was like, okay, because I've banged my drum a lot about not having good Christian art forms. And this is a potential outlet for Christian art, like Christian film. So I'm like, I think I need to sign up for it and check it out for the free trial period. But I looked at some of the videos on there. And if you're into like 1950s television, it's great. They got Father Knows Best, and the typical 1950s was the best time ever for Jesus
It's
and
like
all
Andy
that.
Griffith's show on there.
No, that's on Netflix right now. So
Can't get better than that.
yeah, so that's all there. So I'm gonna take a look. I'm gonna give it an honest assessment, and I'm gonna, because I know where my biases are. So I'm gonna try it to see if they have anything good. I'm not gonna judge any of the movies on their budget, but I am gonna judge it on their writing. Not even on the actors, because I don't feel like they can get. They're not gonna pull in any big name actors. I don't think.
Stephen Baldwin.
Dean Cain.
Yeah,
He'll
well, that
always
was the
be
thing.
my Superman.
Yeah, that was the thing. Dean Cain was like in every movie. Did he find Jesus, or did he find an acting niche?
Right?
I don't know.
And that's a good question.
I don't-
for
I
a
will
lot
say
of
that
those
I have
folks.
seen. I watch a lot of podcasts or listen to them. Some of them are video, but Dean Cain shows up sometimes on one that I listen to, and he seems like a legitimately nice dude.
Yeah.
I like Dean Cain.
Yeah.
He's Supergirl's dad.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
the Supergirl.
Okay.
What channel is that on? The
CW?
CW. Yeah.
I'm glad he keeps showing up in Superman related things.
Well, the cool thing is that in Supergirl, Dean Cain is the Earth dad of Supergirl, and the mother is the actress who played Supergirl in the 80s movie.
That's cool.
The hot blonde.
So you got Superman
lady.
and Supergirl
That's cool.
from previous incarnations.
Yeah.
But this whole thing we're talking about Pureflix and Godtube, that really gets to the whole title of this podcast, doesn't it? Culture versus Christian.
Yeah.
Like what? Here we are dividing a line between like regular art and God art,
And that's
like,
what's
do
gonna
we
be-
have to have that line? Like Tolkien, Lord of the Rings, one of the greatest fantasy series ever. He was a staunch Roman Catholic, but he didn't put a cross on the cover of his books.
Right.
It was just a part of his worldview.
Yeah.
And that led to great storytelling.
And that was my next question. Do we really even need Christian alternatives?
Or just good art.
Or just good art? Yeah.
Think about, there's a fantasy author who's contemporary. He publishes tons of books. His name's Brandon Sanderson.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a great writer, great storyteller. He's a really dedicated, as far as I can tell, Mormon. Mm-hmm. But he doesn't preach Mormonism throughout all his books. But his faith,
is expressed,
inspires, or is implicitly present in everything he writes, and the themes and everything like that. So I mean, there's that question of like, good art is just produced from what make up your core foundations.
Yeah,
So
I think the art should come first.
Yeah.
And if you're trying to set out and make art, I think you should worry about making the art.
you do it because you love it.
Right. Like what you said with him, like with Tolkien, you're just trying to tell a good story.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Because you want to tell a story.
exactly.
And Tolkien was a philologist. He studied language. And so the Lord of the Rings started because you had this teacher who created an elven language just for fun. Wow. And then he wrote Lord of the Rings around it. So he was doing what he loved.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. That's the name of the podcast, Culture versus Christian. Like, why is there this war?
Yeah.
And I get it in a sense. Paul says, don't have anything to do with the, maybe he doesn't say that, but the gist is that, right?
The gist is this.
Paul
said a lot of things.
Right. In the letters of John, right? He who hates this world. It's been a long time since I've read the Bible, so bear with me.
Last week.
Something about hating the world, right? But at the same time, that's kind of hating the world system, the setup, the one that takes advantage of people, the one that oppresses people. That's not. Hating the world is not the same as hating, good music or hating good art.
Yeah.
And that's where we get hung up, is because we think to make a movie, we got to preach Jesus 100%, just explicitly in your face. And we think to make music, we got to take everything that's done on the hard rock station and just tweak it and talk about, the sacred stuff. And to me, it just leads to chintzy art. It leads to there's this barrier between creation and production that's a filter of like, okay, here's what I want to do, but now I gotta turn it into this. And maybe it attracts people that aren't even sincere in their creation. They're just wanting to do something else. They might be sincere in their desire to be seen as a preacher, evangelist, or promoter of the gospel, but not so much as a musician or an author.